Okay, let's get the sword. And now... Huh! Huh! Hey guys, this is AF, and I'm definitely having fun solo developing Pixel Wars, so far at least. Um, we're at Dev Diary Episode 6, and celebrating apparently what is 3 months of Dev Diary. That's very cool. In case you guys didn't know, we're doing these bi-weekly, where I just pick a something relevant to the game that I want to talk about, I want to share with you guys, and sort of take you step by step into the development journey of said aspect or feature or whatever it is. Now, I know last time uh, I said we will be talking about in game characters, and we'll be taking a closer look at pixel heroes and so on, and their abilities and what they can equip and their items and their synergies and stuff like that. But, big but, I realized in the meantime, I realized that we haven't actually spoken about what drives these characters, the reason why they're all, battling each other for glory and real money prizes. And that is the main game resource. So we will definitely be talking about, one sec, we will definitely be talking about, be covering the main resource of the game. And since we're here, this kind of works closely hand in hand with the actual game mode, because since this resource is generated somehow, and we'll see how, then we obviously need to start looking at what the game mode is, our first game mode, and what the void is all about, aka the map that you guys keep seeing every time that I do an in-game preview. So we'll be looking at our main game resource, very important, very important. And we will also be looking at our game mode, our first game mode. So, obviously, after we're done with that, we're gonna go into a game shout out. I know you guys like these. I have a very special game lined up for you guys, as well as we'll also be doing a giveaway at the end of this clip, as we do at the end of every Dev Diary. So stay tuned. This giveaway is cool as well. Now, before we get into it, I would also like to invite you guys to check out the AF portal, which is a one-stop shop for everything that I do in terms of both crypto as well as game development. And, you can see here all of the stuff that you need. Basically, everything that I'm about is crammed up in this page. So, in case you guys feel the need to dive deeper, just go here. And obviously, all of the links below. Now, it's time to start talking about our main in-game resource. So traditionally, video games employ several types of in-game resources. For example, HP, which is hit points, mana as well, which helps us cast spells, stamina, which helps us do athletic feats or run and stuff like that. And this is all fine, in my opinion, for traditional games, but Pixel Wars is trying to be a little bit different in a good way, obviously. And I basically want to discard all of these classic traditional sort of staples in terms of in-game resource. Because mostly it's a turn-based strategy game. And turn-based strategy games, you can't start running around the map. I need my HP potion. Oh, I need my mana potion. Oh, I need my stamina to, replenish these meters that deplete. Not only that, but also the UI, be a nightmare. Like, I mean, imagine you get a little bar on top of your character, and then you get a little bar for your mana, and then you get a little bar for your stamina, and so on. It basically starts looking like a, I don't know, Big Mac sort of deal here with all of this stuff. And I don't want to have hamburgers on top of my in-game characters. So what I did is I took a step back and I tried to look at what exactly are the things that you do in Pixel Wars and try to boil everything down to the bare minimum in order to be able to come up with art resource strategy. So what we can do in Pixel Wars, very simplistically put, we can move, right? We can attack other players, or the practice dummy, as I was doing in the beginning of this clip, and we can take damage. Okay, we can do a lot of other stuff, but these are like the most basic things, right? So move, attack, damage. Move, attack, damage. So why not bring all of these into a single in-game resource that we call dun, 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 MAD. Obviously, move, attack, damage. But what's special about this is, besides the funny names and the obviously contextual replenishment of the resource, which is the mad juice. Let's take a look at how this sort of behaves in game. So mad basically allows us to move, attack, and do damage. But it also needs to be visually represented somehow, so let's just assume that we will be showcasing it here as like a meter on top of our character, right? And this is your meter. And this is your mad meter, basically. So what happens with it? Well, every time you move, you deplete it. So there's a minus on your mad meter. A resource goes down. Every time you attack, you add to your mad meter. And every time you take damage, the mad meter depletes again, but in a more accelerated fashion rather than just moving around. And that's it. That's our main endgame resource. Mad. I'm mad about it. The puns are endless. Let me know what you guys think about this. I think this is the way to go. I think scratching stamina, mana, HP, and all of those classic type of resources is something that basically simplifies everything and allows us to boil everything down and decant everything into this simple, unique meter, our mad meter, which is basically everything. It basically dictates our game, entire game. Now, we'll talk more about MAD, but before that, we need to understand how this resource is produced and how it sort of leverages around, how it's sort of leveraged in our game mechanic. Now let's talk about the void. And side note, moving forward, we're only going to do player 1 versus player 2. I know we spoke about going up to 6 players and stuff like that. That is not in scope for the alpha. So player 1, player 2, 1v1. The void. This is not how the map is going to look like, by the way. It's just this visual representation, a schematic, if you will, so that you guys can understand. So let's imagine player 1 and player 2 have joined the game. They both spawn opposite each other. And they're immediately going to notice that there's a bunch of switches scattered across the map. And 2 of these are actually next to them, right? So switch 1 is next to player 1 and switch 2 is next to player 2. These switches, all of these switches, can be turned on or off. They are off by default. And basically what you do, what the goal of the game is to, I mean, not this is not the goal of the game, but we're working ourselves towards that goal. So in order to be able to reach that, we need to turn all of the switches on. Any player can turn these switches on. So for example, player 1 can turn S2 on, or 3, or all of them, and off. It doesn't matter. We can turn them on off the bat when we start, so it's going to be very close near our base. So let's player 1 can turn on switch 1 and player 2 can turn on switch 2. But in order to be able to switch these on, we need to actually physically move there. And that sort of becomes dangerous because the other player can intercept us. Our enemy can try to sabotage us in one way or another. So the Void, basically, the lore behind the Void is that the Void is the home of dead pixels, of pixels in general. It's where they come from, and it's this mysterious, sort of goofy slash war-torn universe where basically pixels battle each other for this resource. Resource which we spoke about just now. It's called MAD. And pixels love MAD. They love MAD. So what happens is once we manage to turn off all of these switches, right, the juicer comes on. And once this big boy is on, it's gonna start producing, you guessed it, mad juice. Let's put this here. So, mad juice. And the way that it produces it, it basically starts scattering it, like shooting it, like similar to like a geyser or something like that, or a volcano, shoots lava. It's basically just these mad juices are going to start spawning all over the map randomly as consumable resources that players can actually go and consume so that they can replenish their mad meter. Replenish mad meter. The mad meter that gets replenished is obviously the same meter that gets depleted when moving or taking damage. So it's a delicate balance, right? What this mad meter also does, in addition to everything we've mentioned, is basically it acts like sort of a force field. So you're not being, hurt. You're not getting hurt if you're taking damage while your mad meter is still active. If it depletes completely, then you will be KO'd, right? In order for it to deplete completely, you need to move and take damage, enough damage, or move or not, efficiently manage your resource so that it's depleted. And once this depletes, you basically become vulnerable. Mad equals 0, then we become vulnerable. And this is very important because if we're vulnerable, if somebody hits us, player 2 hits us with anything, any of their abilities or weapons, we get KO'd. So hit and KO. And which brings us to the win condition, which is get KO your opponent 3 times, basically. So in order to be able to win a game, you need to KO your opponent 3 times. How do you KO your opponent? You deplete their mad meter, or they deplete it from themselves, and then you hit them with an ability or weapon or whatever. Once you've done that, they are KO'd. Being KO'd, you respawn at your base. or the first time you spawned. So this is like a basic sort of mechanic where we get to win the game by KOs. Now there's a lot of other stuff that also happens. So for example, let's assume that all the switches are turned on and the juicer is active. So it starts spitting out mad juice all over the map, which we can pick up and replenish our mad meter. But what it also does is create an unstable area around most of the map, meaning that some tiles become unstable. So, and we don't know which, or maybe we do. This is TBD. So let's just put a couple here. So these tiles, they have a very interesting property because, let's call them unstable. If they're unstable because of the juicer who's like sucking up all of the natural resources of the void and obviously creating an imbalance in nature, the entire arena starts shaking, the entire gameplay arena starts shaking, and some tiles start becoming unstable. This means that if you land on any of these unstable tiles when you're moving or doing something on the map, or you're pushed on any of these unstable tiles, well, they're just going to crack underneath you and you're going to fall into the void, resulting in a instant KO. Which is interesting because it makes for like very interesting, very cool gameplay dynamics. Like you could actually get KO'd with a full mad juice, with a full mad meter. Cool, interesting. So players will have to sort of decide on playstyle based on their opponent's playstyle as well and the overall game dynamics. So for example, if the switches are all turned on and me as a player, I have like already have a full mad meter and I don't need any more mad juice, I can turn off one of the switches, maybe the switch in my home base, and the juicer will stop working and it will stop produce mad juice. So we're not going to have any more mad juice on the map after that. And then player 2 will become motivated to turn it back on. And you know, you can see how all this sort of can result in a very fun and interesting dynamic. On top of all of this, there's obviously, you know, we're going to have some other stuff on the map, on the void map, like some obstacles, you know, some power-ups, let's call them U, that you can pick up, and all other stuff. That was obviously the abilities and items that you'll be, that you will be able to choose in the beginning of the game and build your character and so on and so forth. And basically, in a nutshell, that's about it. This is the whole dynamic in terms of how the Void game mode works. It's basically control points, right? And juicer. We need to control all of these switches and then activate the juicer, and then everything becomes unstable and so on. Oh, one more thing. We spoke about mad meter being depleted, but what happens if we actually fill it up completely? Well, the moment that we fill it up completely, we become mad, truly. So, mad meter full. Then we become mad. And this basically means it's sort of like a berserk mode. It will be different from character to character. So, you know, some characters might get enhanced abilities, other characters might get, I don't know, other stuff. And this lasts obviously for a couple of turns, not a couple, but for like, I don't know, let's call them N turns. After which, obviously, we get back to normal. Our mad meter is sort of depleted, and we might actually, be prone to some penalties. But we'll get into that at a later date. I hope you guys can make sense of all of this. I know that it looks like a complete mess, but if you watch the video, I keep adding stuff on this graph, so I think it's gonna be fine. I hope you wrapped your heads around the MAD and MAD juice and how the void map is going to unfold. And I hope you're as excited about this gameplay as I am, because I'm like super excited about this gameplay, and I'm super excited to start showing to you guys actual gameplay footage, actual battle footage, characters, and so on. And this dev diary, we're going to be looking at Hades. Hades is a game developed by an indie studio. It's called Supergiant Games. They also developed Bastion. That was actually their very first game. There's a very cool story behind it as well. And basically, Hades is a roguelike game with some RPG elements as well, where you're basically the son of Hades in the underworld trying to escape your father's domain. And let's have a look at the trailer.
Time for the main event.
Stupid boy. I told you nobody gets out of here.
Daddy issues. You get all of these cool weapons that you can try out, and every time you die, you respawn and you start all over again. But you get to keep the items and abilities that you've collected so far. Well, not the items, but the abilities and so on. So you can basically unlock stuff while you play. Yep. It's a great game. Everything about it is great. The atmosphere, the soundtrack, the voice acting, the story itself, it clicks so well in terms of roguelike meets actual mythology where, as you know, the underworld is inescapable. So they kind of basically recreate that environment in a game, which is amazing in my opinion. It clicks instantly. It's a great example of game theme matching the game style or game genre. So yeah, I recommend you guys try this out. It's a great game. I love it personally. I've been playing it recently, replaying it recently as well, in preparation for Hades 2, which actually came out recently, which I also want to play. Which brings me to this Dev Diaries giveaway. And for this Dev Diaries giveaway, I kind of like giving away games. So last time we gave away Into the Breach to one of our holders, and this time we're gonna give away Hades, the game Hades, the game that I just shouted out. We're gonna be giving it away, and the condition is to be a verified holder in our Discord, and you can reach the Discord by going to the socials down below or any of the links below me, and basically you'll just be eligible to win if I choose you in a more or less random fashion. Okay, so that's about it for this Dev Diary. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too complex, and I really hope you'll be joining me next time where we're actually gonna see this work. Bye guys.